Right, so thank you everyone for coming along onto this little chat thing that I'm going to do. I've got the delightful Matthew here with me
Why,
at the moment,
why hello
and
there, Steve.
and we're just going to talk a lot about LARP, roleplay, inspiration, things like that. So, and for yeah, that's him on screen at the moment. I think that's an old one of you, actually. I think that's one of your very first ones, to be honest. I think that was a.
How young do I look?
Well, to be honest, when I was getting photos together, I did find one of you with a little puppy, and you had hair like shoulder length hair.
Yeah, that was from. Ooh, that was a good 14 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to put it on the stream just for a laugh, but I thought better of it. And then I saw a horrible, horrible photo of you, and it's one I don't like to see again. It's you wearing Washington Redskins stuff. So
Yeah, because you're a Cowboys fan.
I'm a Cowboys fan. So hopefully the audio is all right. I'm hoping Helen is watching this and might need to turn yourself down a bit compared to Matt, or I'll lean back and go a bit quieter because the audio is a little bit off on this one.
Okay,
So,
I'm
well,
sure it'll
yeah. See if yeah. So I don't want to click on that one because that might mess it all up even more.
be fine.
Check. Ooch. That's Emily, isn't it? Uchek.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah. Yes, there is. Oh, she's working so hard. I'm so proud of her.
she works very hard.
Yes, she does. She's doing well. But so the way this has gone before, I've got a couple of action shots of you as well. Emily's in there. There we go. There's no. I've got a wonderful photo of us together as well.
Right.
Me wearing like the flowery headband.
Yes, that's a
Yeah,
good
I've got that
image.
one. I do like that photo. Right, so let's start off then with a few um, some nice simple questions, and we'll just see where we go from there. So
Mhm.
with everything, so when did you start role playing?
Uh, for me, it's going to be about almost 10 years ago now, just coming up on 10 years ago. Um, so, I'd always been like kind of like into video games, board games, and that kind of thing. And yeah, my first kind of foray into LARP was through PD's previous system, Maelstrom. Uh, yeah, which because I think I came into that 2 years before that game ended, or maybe two
Yeah,
and a half, something like that. So yeah, so that was kind of my first entry into LARP, and was very tentative. It was one of those ones that go, and I initially just got into it for the kind of combatty stuff because it seemed kind of cool. Wasn't big into the kind of role play side of it. But yeah, just kind of as I went to more and more events and stuff, and then started branching out and doing, meeting more people and starting to do a couple of more smaller games.
yeah.
Over time, I kind of just built up my general kind of ability to like role play, I guess. And don't 9, 10 years down the line, I like to think I'm not too bad at it. Not the best, but not the worst.
Wow. No, I think you're good. So I do miss love.
Uh,
So okay, so that's was. I mean, I went to Maelstrom once, and it wasn't my cup of tea, so I didn't bother coming back.
Fair enough.
Um, but Empire massively loved it, absolutely love it. So when you started off, so Maelstrom was your big first one then. So who got you involved in it all, or was it something you heard about, or then decided to go
Uh,
along on your own or something?
so it was through so it was through two friends back home where my folks live, down south, through my friends Chris and JV, John.
Yeah.
But they were kind of always going on about it, and were like, oh yeah, you should come, kind of thing. And yeah, eventually they kind of, just kind of got me around to it, really.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Again, it was kind of more the kind of combat-y side that kind of got me interested in the first place. And then, kind of after, like I say, went to, like I said, my first few events of Maelstrom, it was very much quite bewildering. I was very much, deer in headlights, not really sure what was going on. Because, it was, obviously by that point, Maelstrom had been running for many years by that point.
Yes.
So there was a lot of kind of obviously plotted and well-established players and things. So it was a little bit, not really sure what's going on. But like I say, I kind of very much got into the kind of aspect of the combat side of it. I kind of stuck with that to begin with, because it was kind of like a comfort zone almost.
Yeah.
And yeah, met a lot of very, very cool people who I'm very happy to say I still LARP with now, and are very, very good friends.
Excellent.
And basically just kind of just develop my kind of overall role playing over time. I kind of went from Maelstrom into Empire, so PD's next game.
Yeah.
And then a little while after that, been going on for a few years, I then started doing a few smaller systems with that I've been invited to by kind of some friends through Empire. So I've done games like Future's End.
Yeah.
I've done a game called Ultimate Reality, and then I've also done We Are Legends by Legendary LARP, and I currently crew Guild of Darkness. So I kind of have 4 different LARPs at the moment that I am involved with, either in a crew capacity or a player capacity.
Excellent.
So yeah, certainly I've got a reasonable spread. I mean, compared to some LARPers who do many more LARPs than I do. It's just a kind of a case of having availability and time. Obviously, with things at the moment, everything's kind of ground to a halt, but can't be helped. But hopefully wait for everything to sort itself out, and then the world can go back to normal. But
well, fingers crossed on that front. We've now got Kit and I think that's Robbie as well in there now. So Kit's there, so it's all gone to pot, obviously. So I mean, that's a lot. Do you do tabletop roleplay as well at all?
I have never actually done any D&D. To the shock of many people that I know. I actually, as of last night, I've got a couple of my friends from Empire are gonna look at doing a online D&D game for me as an absolute noob on that front, using the Roll20 engine, I believe it is, which they're looking at setting up, because it's something I kind of was never really interested in it, and then since I've been going out with Emily, my partner, she's been kind of slowly prodding me, going, "Yeah, you'll enjoy D&D," and it took her a few years, but I've kind of got a bit interested in it now, and want to give it a go. And it's just been then finding time and people to do it with, and because of situations with the lockdown, there's now lots of time on everyone's hands. So just been talking to some of the guys I know from Empire, and they're like,
there are lots of tabletop games that go on. Roll20, Robbie's just said in chat, Roll20 is getting used so much now. I'm running Werewolf, a game called Seventh Sea, where you can be swashbuckling pirates or anything like that, and an Aliens game as well. So, Paul and Kay, so much tabletop. How do you pronounce that? Kushni and Matt. Waves.
Yeah.
Hello. Um, so there's loads and loads of tabletop. I've only ever played D&D once in my life, so I mean, there's loads of it going on. So I mean, have you now you've sort of had all of that sort of stuff gone on, and that have you had a look at any tabletop games then, and you thought, oh, that looks interesting, I'll try that one, or anything like that?
Well, so like, uh, like now, I want to give like proper, traditional D a go. I mean, I've watched the Penny Arcade Acquisitions Incorporated podcast,
Yeah,
which again for somebody that had never played D&D before was like a really nice kind of introduction to it in terms of being able to actually kind of listen to a group of nerds basically who've never played it before actually start off from scratch, and then basically you take their pre-gen characters and then basically run with it and that kind of thing.
right.
And that again kind of got me very interested in kind of giving it a go. But then then it's just otherwise then like Emily, my partner, she's already like had a collection of various different RPG books. So she had a load of D&D ones. She's got a 7th C book. But then we've kind of picked up some more over the past few years, just of books and things of things we've been interested in. So like we've got manual guide for the Witcher RPG.
Oh, nice.
We've got both the main different Lord of the Rings style ones, so the One Ring and then Adventures in Middle Earth as well.
Yeah, I'm playing that one. I'm playing the Adventures of Middle Earth game on Sunday with Sam Wheatley.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
he's running it, so that should be fun. But we've got lots of going. Kushni and Matt, they were going to play Skywise Seppa at E1 this year. So, well, I need to. How often do you go and see the orcs at Empire?
Every so often. I don't go into their camp normally unless somebody else asks me to go with them.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I went in there once as Cernanos, and I was allowed in on my own for a generals meetup, which was good. That doesn't happen too often. And then the other time I had to go in with Grim because he went in there on his own, and then he was sort of like picked up on the path out the front, which is quite fun. Emily's just said, you keep collecting the books but not actually playing them.
Let me guess, is that from Emily?
Yes, it is, yeah. I do the same sort of thing. I've got Tales from the Loop as well, and I keep looking at it, and I want to play it, but it's all about getting round to it at the end of the day.
It's a little bit of that. I mean, but for me, I kind of want to start. I like to kind of start off just with D&D because I feel that D&D was kind of the original tabletop game. So I kind of quite like to start with that and then kind of branch out.
Yeah.
Just because from what I know and understand, fifth ed of D&D is quite a user friendly kind of setup for tabletop RPGs. So like I say, I kind of like to start that rather than going into different systems that either use a similar system or run off something totally different. I'd be like, what?
Yeah. Well, so similar question then. So when it for the tabletop one. So what about LARPs then? So what LARPs out there worldwide do you look at and think, oh, I'd really want to go and try that?
I mean, I'd be interested to try Drakenfest just because of the sheer scale of it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you think to kind of UK LARPs as general, the kind of biggest two are, or biggest three rather, you've got Empire, LT, and CP, and the kind of general largest numbers across the board of those is a couple of thousand people, kind of tops. But then you have something like Drakenfest where you can get 15 to 20,000 people, and it's like a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it'd be interesting to try that just to see the sheer scale of it. And because I mean, large battles in like Empire. Again, they're really fun for the sheer scale of them. You don't get quite the same kind of individual heroic aspects like you do on from smaller systems.
No.
But it would just, but it's still like I say, it's fun in its own way, just because you've got the much larger unit kind of commanding and moving, and the kind of much more ebb and flow of battle lines and that kind of thing. So it'd be very interesting to see that kind of on a Drakenfest scale. And then also from all the pictures and videos, online of Drakenfest, just the kind of the prop making, costume design, and set dressing that goes into that game is just immense. So yeah, that would be interesting. But also you've then got your kind of smaller LARP, not kind of purebred LARP star games, but like you've got like the Witch School that runs out of Poland. There's also, I think, like a Harry Potter kind of School of Wizardry that I know somebody that's done that. That they kind of very much enjoyed that.
Were they playing that Harry Potter one, or were they helping run it, or?
They were playing it.
Okay.
And yeah, it would be like I said, I'd like to kind of have a look at those kind of things. If time and money was no object, kind of thing. But I mean, the main thing with the Witcher one is just because I'm a pretty big Witcher fanboy.
Oh yeah. The Witcher one, I have to admit, does appeal to me. The Poland one set in the castle, they've closed down now, haven't they? Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot of issues there. So.
Okay. I don't think I heard about that.
It's one of those unfortunate things, it seems, but I think they had a lot of interest. They did a Joel Ravuga in chat. You have the biggest LARP in Sweden. About 400 people, but at least they've all got IKEA furniture, though, Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing well, mate. So there are loads out there, and I like the idea of the Witcher one. I definitely want to try Drakenfest at some point. They did a vampire one in Poland, the Convention of Thorns, so for Vampire the Masquerade, and I'd love to try that.
Yeah.
As well, but that's obviously gone now. So yeah. So okay, so let's go on to the best and the worst. Then, so what's your best, worst, and funniest? I think is the best way to do it, because that's always seems to be how it ends up. So what's your best moment in LARP?
I'd probably say, to be honest, I'd probably say for me, it was probably a linear that I was very lucky to be a part of at the last LARP game I was at, We Are Legends, which was run at the decommissioned Gloucester prison end of February this year.
Yeah.
And basically, if you've ever played the video game The Last of Us, the crew and game team for We Are Legends had made basically full-on kind of life-size clicker costumes for several members of their crew.
Yeah.
And basically, there was a linear that we had where we were basically exploring this one of the disused cell blocks to kind of find some key cards and some information and stuff like that. And they were basically being patrolled by these clickers, and they were being portrayed pretty much perfectly by the monster crew. Yeah. Exactly like the clickers from The Last of Us, so they looked, sounded, and acted exactly like they would from the video game, and it was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure, and it was without a doubt probably the best linear I've ever been on, just because they very much were moving and reacting purely based on sound.
Yeah.
So you had to be really quiet, and we were using basically tin cans tracking down corridors for noise distractions, so that we can move safely and things like that. And it was so atmospheric, and it was very, very well done by the game team for We Are Legends. And nice. I cannot applaud them enough for how they ran that game. It was the best thing I've ever done, and very much that weekend as a whole was the best LARP I've ever done in like 10 years.
Excellent. So let's go for worst then. But it doesn't have to be worst as in this really bad thing happened and I hated it or anything like that. It could be worst as in something that's left you like actually drained or anything. Because it's like, I mean, I know that when Cernanos was executed, it was epic, but I mean, I didn't come back for a while after that. I was so drained from it. But it was great, but it was also horrible. So go for anything. It could be anything like that.
So a good one for for this is an Empire one. So skirmish organising at Empire can be interesting.
Yeah.
It can very much be like herding cats. It's one of those ones of, in an ideal scenario, you'd love to take everybody that turns up to skirmishes on a skirmish, because it's not nice to turn around to people and be like, well, really sorry, we've only got X number of people, so you're not allowed to come. So it's a bit of a pants situation to be put in when you're organising a skirmish and when you've got too many people, and basically you ask people, really sorry, we've only got X amount and we're oversubscribed, can people volunteer to step out? And nobody volunteers, so you kind of have to so kind of going around and having to kind of basically ask people on an IC level, right, are you kitted up correctly? Have you got the right kind of armor? Have you got spare potions on you and that kind of thing? Because it's one of those things of, it's not an out of character choice of, oh, I don't like your kit, so I'm chucking out. It's the in character kind of decision making of going, right, we're going on a mission. It's going to be dangerous because linears traditionally are a lot more dangerous at Empire than the big fights are. So there's a much higher chance that people could die. So it's actually looking at people and going, right, okay, if you're somebody that's turned up to a skirmish in minimal armor with just a dagger and like you haven't got any kind of like additional things that could be useful for you, haven't got the right kind of skill set and that kind of thing, you just want to turn up because it's cool, which I entirely get and is entirely fair. We've all been there at LARPs where it's either a first event or it's the first event of that system and that kind of thing. It's one of those. It's a very tricky one of you don't like singling people out for that kind of thing, but you kind of have to from an IC perspective, because you're sort of going, right, if I take you on this mission, there's a much higher likely percentage that you're going to die because you have no armor, you've only got a dagger, and it's going to be very dangerous. And I'd rather not take you for us to bring back your corpse, sort of thing.
I'm quite partial to that though. I think skirmishing is one of those ones where I like to take new people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, let's say it's getting that fine balance. Again, it's something that is always quite tricky, and again, it's one of those ones of, certainly with enough games like Empire and things have kind of been running enough that certainly I do it now. But if there's a skirmish that's going out, and if I'm not the person that's running it, and I just turn up because it sounds cool, if it's oversubscribed, I normally step out and go, no, there's other people that want to go. But then it's also down to people self-managing themselves and going, because PD have now obviously built their system around that they have so many skirmishes running with Skirmish Crew because so many people want to go on them. So people have kind of got to manage themselves in terms of going, right, I want to choose, there's like 4 nation-specific skirmishes, say, that I could go on. I'm going to pick the one that basically speaks to me the most on an IC level, and I will choose to only go on that one skirmish. And that way it then balances it, makes it a lot fairer. So that way at least everybody should be able to get to go on one skirmish. Because otherwise, if everybody tries to go to every single skirmish, there's always going to be a large proportion of people that are going to miss out. So it certainly with games the size of Empire, it's very much about people, as well as kind of listening to those who are trying to organise the skirmishes, it's also trying to kind of self-manage themselves in terms of giving themselves an aim of going, right, there's X amount of skirmishes I could go on. Instead of trying to sign up for every single one, I will try to only do one.
Yeah.
Because, this speaks to me on an in-character level for this reason. And then it's finding the person that's organising the skirmish and kind of having that in-character conversation of going, right, I know there's all these other skirmishes involving our nation going on, but this one specific skirmish I want to be involved with because of X reason. And if somebody was to come up to me in character and kind of have that kind of conversation, I'd be much more willing to basically go, oh, right, okay, yeah, fine, done. Because you're specifically saying to me, I've got an in-character reason that I want to go on this skirmish. I don't want to go on any other fights. I just want to go on this one. It's like, so was it last event? I want to say one of the events last year. I can't remember exactly which one. Again, Navarra normally, Navarra within Empire normally have, at the moment, kind of 2 or 3 Valorni related skirmishes, kind of an event at the moment.
Yeah.
So there was one event last year where I think there was 3 Valorn ones, and there was one Jotun related one.
Yeah.
Which, when we were organising it sounded like the Jotun one was going to be a kind of night stealth stab in the dark kind of mission. So basically there was one of the larger groups within Navarre, the Black Scar.
Yeah. Who no one likes because they smell.
Well, I basically, because they were basically wanting to, kind of go on a lot of the skirmishes because they're a very combat heavy unit, which is fair enough. So I ended up having a chat with their brand and a couple of others within their group, and went, look, I know you want to go and do as many of these as possible because you guys are very much a combat heavy unit. I basically then kind of asked and pointed them towards the Jotun one because I was like, out of all these fights, I feel that this one is going to suit you guys best.
Yeah.
And if you guys, are happy to go on that one, we'll try sort of so that as many of you can go on it as possible. So, but they, went, yeah, okay, we'll do that. As things then turned out, they didn't all get to go on that mission, and kind of some icy bits kicked off afterwards relating to it. But it's what happens in a field when you've got several hundred people.
Yeah.
And you've got 50 people trying to go on a 30-person skirmish.
Yeah. Well, Kit's just pointed out LARPers aren't professional soldiers. So,
yes.
I mean, when it comes to skirmishing and that, you're not everybody. At the end of the day, fighting at LARP is fun, and you want to do it as much as you can. So,
absolutely.
But I think people like you, me, even Kit, Robbie, the experienced ones, are more than happy to step away. If I saw a skirmish, it was loads of newbies wanted to go on it, I would happily walk away. Just say, yeah, you go enjoy it, have fun, try not to die, sort of jobby. But you get those sorts, yeah.
Yeah.
But, and as Kit has just posted, he's just said, for many, this is a holiday. So it's you have to try to manage it, don't you? I guess it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, it's like I say, herding cats is never fun, and it's one of those ones. Like I say, it's always a very fine balancing act between the game organisers, between the people in character trying to organise the skirmishes, and then kind of balancing it between in character information, out of character, kind of. How many skirmishes people have done and this kind of thing. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, the best thing is to just try to manage yourself at the best you can. Which is why I say kind of the thing that certainly I look at doing with Empire now is I look at whatever the list of skirmishes are, and I normally just go, right, that one skirmish I'm going to try and go on. And yes, I might try to involve myself in organising some of the other ones, especially if there's anything Valorn related.
Yeah.
But then I'd very much try to look at helping to organise who else is going to lead those. So that way, I can basically choose one and go, right, this one I'm going to try and organise, but I'm then going to try and get people to organise the second and the third one. and make sure they've got everything they need, they've got all the information they need, and this kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to build up the player base's experience pool, is by sharing out all the opportunities and not just kind of hoarding them all for yourself.
No, exactly. I do remember very early Empire skirmishes where you'd see, I think me and Kit, when they did the 4-day events, I think me and Kit had counted, we had done two main battles and something like 14 skirmishes.
Yeah, see that's that's ridiculous. I mean,
it is.
If you had somebody that went to an Empire and did those kind of numbers now, you'd kind of be looking at them with a little bit of disgust, going, "Oh my god, why did you do that?" You know, that there were probably plenty of other players that could have gone on those slots.
But you had those in those days. That was when they were going up to people, going, "Look, we're short on this skirmish. We don't have enough. Do you want to go out again?" We're like, "Yeah." So we did, constantly. But nowadays, you don't get that at all.
Again, it's how the game's evolved. I mean, it's one of the things that I find the monstering at Empire is also very good for, in terms of building up general combat and leadership experience. Because I help organise and run one of the elite monstering units at Empire, the one for Navarre, with Justin. So for anybody that obviously doesn't do Empire, there's two, over the course of a single event, you have two big fights, one on the Saturday, one on the Sunday traditionally. The nation that you are a part of will normally only fight in one of those battles, and then on the other battle, as part of the social contract, you would then be expected to then monster as a barbarian orc, or bandit, or Valorn Husk, or whatever the parameter is for that fight. And so within most of the nations now, there is a player-led elite monster unit, which basically is a group of players within each nation that basically have said that they want to basically get a little bit more out of monstering, rather than just turning up, doing the kind of minimal amount, and then going back. They want to actually make kind of like barbarian characters, improve their monster kit, and build some leadership experience and that kind of thing. So the way that me and Justin run the Navarre EMU is we very much try to give anybody who wants to have the opportunity to gain some leadership experience the chance to do it, because at the end of the day, monstering, people aren't losing characters that they've had for years if they die and that kind of thing. So it's a fairly risk-free environment where you can actually take a group of 20 to 30 people, have a go at leading them, and if they all die horribly, it doesn't really matter.
No.
And it's just a nice environment to be able to build that kind of experience, and you can kind of learn what works and what doesn't, and you can practice actually kind of troop movements and how to lead and organize a unit and work on different tactics, which then you can transfer into your IC character if you want to, or you can transfer it into a future IC character if like your current character is like a mage and you want to, and as your backup you're going to come back as like a adjutant style character that wants to become a general or that kind of thing. And it's really nice. We have a really good solid core of players within the Navarre EMU now, who turn up every single time, are super enthusiastic, and are really willing to just give it a go and give their all, not be just disposable monsters. They very much will play the part so that it makes it better for the players coming in to fight that battle, because we really build up some atmosphere. We do, songs and chants now within the Navarre EMU. Our group kit is slowly building and getting better and better, so we can actually be recognised as a clear, distinguished unit now whenever we fight. Just
go on.
I was just going to say, just the general camaraderie with it. It's people turn up to Monster now with the EMU with such enthusiasm, whereas there have been times I know at Empire where you've turned up to Monster and people have just been like, oh god, Monster, oh, it's gonna be awful and that kind of thing. So I find
Yeah.
the emu side of monstering is really good for just getting people a little bit more involved and just building up a little bit more camaraderie and just building a general skill base, be it in leadership command, be it in fighting, because it's a really good opportunity to try out using different types of weapons because you may turn up to an event like Empire. It may be your first LARP, and you may not even have like a weapon to your name, or you might only buy like a short sword.
Yeah.
But like, especially when it comes to like monstering, once you've had a chance to talk to people, people are normally, if you chat to them, more than willing to loan out and lend weapons to monster with, just so people can have a go with like a two-handed axe or like a pair or like a sword and shield and that kind of thing, so people can see what it's like to use different weapon combinations.
Yeah.
And LARPers are really good like that on the community side.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the other good thing about the EMU, from my experience fighting on the other side, is you get rugby tackled. You get a bit of focus from people who know you as well. I mean, I've had Kit literally rugby tackle me, and it's hilarious. It's so much fun to do when you monster against people you know as well. It's hilarious. I know for a fact when I've monsters, I've gone for you. With that, I've gone for it's generally you, Justin, Kit, and people who I know I could probably get away with that little bit more with, and that. So, but monstering is a great time. Like we got married.
Yeah.
So our orcs got married. It was really good. Emily asked a question, but my chat has sort of like moved on a bit, and it's gone. So if Emily or someone can post that quickly into the chat for me, because it was a really good point. It was such a good point I forgot it because my memory is awful. So I'm really sorry, Emily. So if someone could do that for me, that'd be great. Robbie said, just talking about plot and how some people want the plot just to come to them, and a lot of first timers don't realise that larger LARPs require you, the player, to be more proactive. As a result, so as a result, some folks, their first impression of large LARPs is they're bored because the plot's not coming to them. So
I'd say I would definitely agree with Robbie on that one. Is that it's certainly with larger LARPs, you have to be a lot more proactive in picking an aspect of the game that you want to kind of dive into, and then basically doing kind of everything that you can to find out where the information is for it, who to talk to try and get involved with it, and that kind of thing. Because it's one of the things that's very much a double-edged sword with a game the size of Empire, is that plot is out there, but you have to be willing to dig around to find it and get involved in it. Because if you just expect it to come to you in a game of Empire's size, where there's up to 2,000 odd people, that will never happen.
Yeah. There's been they've put some good points into chat on that, and it's funny enough. These are the exact 2 points that I was going to bring up. So Kushni and Matt has said make your own plot, and Paul and Kay have said, oh, it's Paul and Kay. You know what? That's only just sunk. It's only just sunk into me.
Well done, Steve.
Oh God. Right, so it's always good to ask people with hats if you can help them. They are always busy. Yeah, those 2 points are. Thank you. Yeah, I really am a daft bugger. Both fantastic points. Paul and Kate actually got me involved in a little bit of something. I didn't stick around with it too much because it's diplomacy. Nothing that Steve or any of his characters do very well.
No.
and we went off met up with an orc, and it was outside a library, and it was basically just a discourse between them, but there was just a bit of security. I would have never got involved in anything like that if they hadn't put it out there they needed some help with it. So there are always people out there, and you always find that it's the same sort of people as well who want to push that sort of plot, want to get people involved. And I will always say Paul and Kay, I think, are fantastic for it because they're always swamped. They always have so much going on. I think so. That's Thule Sorcerer in the Empire. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, and I wanted to kill him, but they had to talk to him. So make your own plot as well. There's everything you do will have a reaction to it as well. So you do make your own plot. You do talk to people and things like that. So I mean, you got more and more involved in plot as you were going on, weren't you?
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
It was very much certainly when like first year of Empire came around. It was very much see what happens. But then kind of once I got involved with my group, the Eternal Family, and then kind of just snowballed a little bit really. It helps when you have a very good group of friends and people that are, like I said, they're very good at getting involved themselves, but also helping to give you a nudge in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then kind of helping you realise stuff that you may not have necessarily done of your own accord. But it's at the end of the day, the biggest thing with LARPs is you've just got to be willing to kind of push yourself a little bit with your kind of outside your comfort zone, and you'll be surprised what you can achieve by doing that. Because we've all been there in terms of like first LARPs and first events and things like that, and kind of coming into a system or just LARP in general and being like, oh my god, what on earth am I doing? And kind of feeling a little bit overwhelmed. But if you can just give yourself that little nudge and just kind of push through your comfort zone that little bit, even if it's as simple a thing as, going up and talking to one person who you've heard say, oh, I've got this thing going on, but I'm looking for people to get involved. Come have a chat with me if this sounds interesting to you, of interest to you. If you just give yourself that little nudge to go and talk to that one person, you could find that it's kind of like a key to unlocking that game for you.
Yeah.
Because kind of going back to what people have said about make your own game, and what Robbie said about you've got to go out and find plot when it just jump in your lap kind of thing.
Yeah.
All it comes down to is just being able just to potentially talk just to one person, and that can have a really big cascading effect on your own game, and then you can go from having kind of not knowing at all what's going on to suddenly being overwhelmed with lots of stuff that's going on, and finding that you're then introduced to X, Y, and Z people, and all sorts, and then kind of snowballs and kind of goes on from there. Yeah. I mean, it's not a perfect science. There will be some times where you'll go talk to a person, they'll tell you a thing, and then you might find it's a bit of a dead end, and you may feel like you're at a bit of a loss. But that's not something to kind of get downtrodden about. It's something just to basically take that information that you've got and then see if you can then find out somebody else who knows that next step that's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because especially with a game the size of Empire, there are a lot of groups that if you turn up in their camp and go, I'm a new person to the game, I haven't got a clue what's going on, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to get involved in X, Y, or Z, can somebody help me? There are enough really good people within the LARP community, especially at Empire, that they will quite happily take 20 minutes, half an hour out of their game time just to sit down and have a chat to you, in character or out of character, about what the game is, how the game works, who good people are to talk to help you get involved in certain things that you'd like your character to try and get involved with, because the LARP community is very good like that. People are very much wanting and willing to help get people involved, especially with a lot of people that have done it for a number of years, because we've all been there.
Yeah.
So like the LARP community as a whole is a very good community to be a part of. For anything from lending kit out to helping talk people through a game if they're new, and kind of everything in between. And it's one of the really good things that makes LARP one of the best kind of modern day hobbies I think that's out there, and it kind of shows just with the fact that the popularity of it has kind of been exponentially expanding kind of year on year over the past kind of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Just how well it's doing.
Yeah. I think from my experience, I think a lot of stuff comes down to it's like when people with mental health issues as well, and they turn up to these things because everyone is so friendly, but when your time in, that whole huge weight just hits you, and it's like, I don't know what to do, and then you stop, and then you're stuck in your tent for the next couple of hours trying to get yourself out of it. I had a little bit of a moment with that, but I'm lucky with the fact I've got someone like one of my closest friends, Kit. He is really, really good at spotting those sorts of things, and I've had no individuals from the Eternal family. I would say the Eternal family as a whole are absolutely incredible for picking up people and helping and pushing in the right direction and being a support network.
Because we're just a nice bunch of people.
Present company excluded, obviously. It's all a bit... Paul and Kay, it's always worth trying to do what your character would do. Kay has massive social anxiety, but her character has goals and she pursues them. So much so, lots of people don't realise how difficult even talking to strangers is for her. I would definitely say you don't notice it with Kay at all. For me personally, she always comes across as so confident and so sure of herself that. But if I didn't know this about her, I wouldn't have said you would notice anything like that with Kay at all. But I think she's the perfect example of someone who has these sorts of issues and just runs with it and just keeps on going and pushes herself. And she's incredible. She is, I think, an inspiration. I think is probably the best way to describe Kay. I think.
Yeah.
For people in that sort of situation, I think she's incredible.
I mean, one thing I think some people might struggle with, because I know I had it, was the kind of concept of being a character outside of just being yourself.
Yeah.
Because I certainly found that definitely with Maelstrom, and very much with Log, my first Empire character, at the very start of Empire. My kind of characters weren't really a character; they were just me.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those ones that again, still kind of years ago, being new to the hobby, I was very much. Well, how would I be a character? Surely would I not just be me? And it's something that I think some people would just be like, actually be able to go, I'm not a person, I'm this character, bang. And they'll be able to be a totally different personality and just be able to switch out. But some people I think will find it more difficult.
Yeah.
But again, it's something that just, if you get, I found that the biggest thing that helped me was just getting involved with some really good people that are more than willing to kind of like let you kind of almost play and experiment around with character development a little bit, because it's something that generally as Log, I kind of very much started off being kind of me, and kind of over the 6 years that I played the character before he died, very much my group, the Eternal Family, kind of helped me build my general abilities as a role player, going from essentially playing myself to basically playing kind of like a version of myself that was a little bit more fierce, a little bit more confident, and a little bit more I know, kind of I trust and believe in me and the people around me, and I don't really care about anybody else
Yeah,
to an extent. And it's something that I've then been able to take into other games and be able to go and go, right. So what is the contact for this character? Emily, my partner, she basically helped me with a really good kind of technique to be able to help build just like a character from scratch kind of thing, in terms of
yeah,
looking at, when you go to an event, give yourself a set of goals. It doesn't have to be, the biggest or fanciest thing ever. Even if you literally set yourself goals of going, right, this weekend I want to turn up at this LARP and I want to fight in battle. I want to talk to a character with a hat about politics, or I just want to talk to um, another player about their in character religious beliefs.
yeah,
If you set yourself just like little small, sort of goals and targets, you can go into it going, right, okay, so this is the target that my character is going to have. So why has my character got these targets? Okay, well, they want to fight in a battle because they want to be involved in, helping protect the people. Why do they want to protect the people? Well, they want to protect the people so that, their striding can flourish, or, so that this area doesn't get invaded. Well, why is that important? And you can kind of start to then build your character's reasoning around that,
yeah,
which I found is quite a nice way just to kind of build a little bit of background for your character. If you're somebody that kind of struggles to kind of go, right, what is, how is my character just going to be different from me?
yeah. Right. I've had the Neon Magpie, Chris, says it's good because people with mental health issues can practice skills and be the person you've always wanted to be. And he said he had no idea about Kay's mind goblins. He couldn't have guessed, and it's it obviously works. I agree. This is a good safe place for people who do have any sort of mental health issues. They can experiment. They can put themselves out there. They can put themselves out of their comfort zone, knowing there is not going to be any fallback onto them, and it's a really really good thing.
Yeah,
It's
look,
yeah, go on.
LARP as a community is open to anything and everything, any race, color, creed, religion, gender, sexuality. You name it. There's going to be some. There's going to be not even somebody. There's going to be a considerably large group of people that are going to be in a similar situation to yourself, and everybody's very supportive in that. And very accepting in that people are different. People are who they are,
Yeah,
and people shouldn't be penalised for that. And LARP is a very, very open outlet for people to be able to either experiment or to just be themselves in an environment that they never would have had the opportunity to before, because of some restraints and things with regards to kind of typical society and stuff like that. So LARP very much offers a place for people to be safe and to kind of, in some circumstances, truly be themselves, which is really nice.
yeah,
And like I said, the kind of level of acceptance and within LARP is just, yeah, you wouldn't find that kind of anywhere else, I don't think.
no. I've got another couple of large comments here. So Paul and Kay, with goals, if you want to think big, do it. At the start of Empire, I thought I'd be more proactive, and went and tried to be more proactive. I got to be the first Navarre senator for Miarin. Hell, the Empress wasn't there at the start. Had a goal and made it to the throne. Perfect examples right there of what, if you want to do something, just work towards it, because
Yeah,
you do it enough, then you'll get there.
yeah.
Neil Magpie. I know a guy who's been going for years now who has autism, and he used to be a hard shell kind of guy, but now he's a big softy. He's super chill and relaxed. Changed him for the better, he says. So these
That's
great
nice.
example. Yeah, that's really nice. I really like that. That it's I think it shows it's not so much Empire the game itself, it's more of the community. It's how accepting everyone is, how welcoming everyone is, and how supportive everyone is. And you're going to get the dickhead, because in every walk of life you get a dickhead who is just going to be a dickhead.
Unfortunately, so yes.
So, but they are few and far between, I found, in the LARP community. And if you're going to be a dickhead in the LARP community, you are generally ushered out and away from certain people, certain situations, and that, until you realise you're a dickhead, and then you change your ways and you become more tolerant, accepting, and things like that. So
yeah, I mean, it's not just something that is, because I know that with a lot of what we've been saying about has been kind of within the realms of the game of Empire, but it's not just Empire. It's pretty much the same with the vast majority of LARPs that you could come across. I mean, so a good example of just the LARP community being an amazing community is with the We Are Legends game that I was at end of February. So the game runners for that at the end of the event got home and found that their fridge had died, they'd lost all power, their aquarium had gone out, and this kind of thing, and they didn't have basically any money to buy a new fridge.
Yeah.
So in the space of about 24 hours, a good chunk of the players and monster crew from that game basically crowdfunded to get them a new fridge.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just because we were like, well, they've just spent that whole weekend running us this amazing game, off their backs for, no profit or anything like that. So it's kind of the least that we can do to show some kind of appreciation is to, help them, get a new fridge, because they've basically come home to a bit of a crap state.
Yeah.
Which is, through no fault of their own at all. And yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just, I just find it's a really good example of how good the LARP community is as a whole in being able to literally just support each other. Like I said, it doesn't matter kind of what goes on. People very much are there to look out for each other, which is really, really nice. And it's, like I say, it's nice to be part of a hobby that that the vast majority of people that you come across and interact with are all of a fairly similar mindset of bending over backwards to kind of help you and to make the game more enjoyable for you.
Yeah.
Both in the game, but then also outside the game in real life as well.
We've had Chris, the Neon Magpie, has just pointed out the other person at Empire who had an off-road capable wheelchair crowdfunded for them too.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, super wholesome. It's true. It is incredible. It's all about making safe spaces. How you can go from a horrible situation that should never have happened into having something fantastic that's happened. So look at what I mean. You know what I'm referring about within the Navarre, and you had a horrible situation which we won't go into because that will lead us on for another hour and a half here. But it was a horrible situation. It then got rectified by PD, and then the entirety of the Navarre all clubbed in and have built. We've got, what was it? The big fire pit. It was all the lighting, the batteries, the cabling. It was everything, wasn't it?
Yep.
And we had it. It was all funded within. It was less than a week, wasn't it?
It was a very short space.
Very short space of time, and it was absolutely incredible. So, and yeah, it's down to this hobby as a whole. I think, like Chris says, super wholesome. Absolutely, it really, really is. And we could go on for a long time saying how incredible everything is. So, but what I think we're doing, we've been going for hour and 5. So I have this one question, which I always ask. I ask everybody, and it's the questions come from a non-LARPer. It's come from my other half's mum.
Right.
And it's a simple question. It's something I would have never thought of asking anybody. Why do you LARP? Exactly.
No, actually, but it's quite a simple answer for me for that one because I very much with LARP. I enjoy the escapism and I enjoy the ability to kind of put myself into that kind of movie-esque style role where you can feel like you're being the badass swashbuckling hero, and that you're being able to kill all the zombies, or save your mates from death, or prevent a nuclear reactor from melting and polluting the world, and this kind of thing. It's that kind of escapism and that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And being able to do it with people who have become really close and really dear to me, really amazing people that I would never have met otherwise, is just kind of an added bonus within that. And so it's a fantastic opportunity to meet up with some of these people, numerous times a year, to just have fun and kind of become a group of ragtag movie-esque heroes that can do really cool things that you'd never be able to do in your normal life, kind of thing. Because I mean, it's like so it's like it's like with Empire, you end up having fights that kind of Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones-esque kind of style in terms of size and kind of visualization and that kind of thing, which are really, really cool to be involved with. But then in terms of some of the smaller LARPs, you can get more of the kind of nitty gritty individual heroic action kind of, you could be the person to, find a weapon that can deal the killing blow to this super awful monster, and feel super badass about it, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I kind of say to that question.
No, that's fantastic. That's really good. Good. Everyone I've asked, everyone's had different answers. It's really, really good. So Chris's Neon Magpie has just pointed out, the thing is, if it turns to shit, no one will come. So it's a strong sense of self-preservation for the hobby, which is true. It's preservation for the hobby, and I like to think it's the preservation for the community.
Yeah.
As well, it's really it's fantastic to see so many supportive people out there.
Well, again, LARPs kind of as a whole are run pretty much purely on volunteers.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to smaller systems. Because I mean, even large systems like PD, yes, they are technically a business, but they only make enough money to kind of feed a family of like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of smaller LARPs, they're non-profit organisations, and they're run purely based off of the creative ideas of a few people, and then 20 to 30 volunteers and people that get involved just for the love of the hobby and just for the love of the idea behind the game. Because I mean, it's like, so a good example I've got is so like I said, so I help Monster and Crew a game called Guild of Darkness.
Yeah.
Emily, my other half, she's one of the NPC referees for that game. And so the last event that we had of that system last year, so end of October, beginning of November? No, beginning of November was when the event was. And unfortunately, due to weather and circumstances and things like that, we had a substantial chunk of the Monster Crew had to unfortunately drop out at the last minute. So we ended up having a player base of about 80 and a Monster Crew of about 10.
Oof.
So we were very kind of disproportionate, but it was one of those ones of those of us that were still able to turn up to Monster the game. We still gave it kind of 110%, and we still have had an absolute blast, monstering for the players, because again, they're a really good player base. The system's really fun to do, and again, when you have that nice blend of, you've got a nice well-designed system. You've got players that are enthusiastic about the game, monsters that are enthusiastic about being there to monster and to just have fun and really drive the experience for the players, purely because it's an opportunity to laugh and try something different. It really just helps basically the hobby just keep on going. And so yeah, despite the fact that there was a vastly diminished monster crew for that one event, you know, from a monster perspective, I still feel that we absolutely nailed it, and I still like to think that a lot of the players that went to that game, still like really enjoyed and absolutely loved it just for what happened.
Yeah, that's cool.
And yes, I mean, but pretty much all the small LARPs that run across the country. I mean, there's going to be hundreds of LARPs that run, be it local systems, the slightly large to medium-sized LARPs. You know, all of them are going to be run off of volunteers, and it's a really good way, I found, to be able to introduce people into the hobby as well. Is through monstering at a smaller system.
Yeah.
Just because it's not as large, it's not quite as overwhelming, and you can actually give people more of that kind of individualized experience.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my best friends, who I've known since I was like 2 or 3 years old, came to one of the Guild of Darkness events last year with me to Monster, and he'd never LARPed before ever in his life. Like him and a couple of other of my friends had always kind of joked about, oh yeah, one day we'll. And yeah, for this one weekend, he was like, you know what, I'll actually give it a go. And I know that certainly when he started on the Friday, he was a little bit like, what's going on? He was a little bit deer in the headlights, but certainly by the end of the weekend, he kind of got to grips with the system, got to grips with what was going on, and really kind of grew into his role as a monster, just to be there to give the players a really good, basically, time to kind of riff off of, be it from a combat side or from like a political side in terms of giving them information and like causing inner conflict with them and that kind of thing. So it's like I say, it's a really good way to introduce people to the hobby if they're not sure as well. Because normally, again, especially in smaller LARPs, you normally don't have to then fork out for loads of kit. You can normally turn up with, you know, a set of, you know, fairly plain clothes, and there'll be enough kind of spare kit and spare weapons within the monster rooms at those smaller games that you can basically have a go with different weapons, be given different costumes of kit. You'll be still given your full briefs and stuff by the game team, and you can still enjoy the experience and learn what it is like to be at a LARP. And yeah, I think it's a really nice way to kind of get introduced into the hobby without having to fork out the kind of financial burden, which for quite a lot of people can be quite a sting, both in terms of ticket costs, but then also kit and all sorts. But then as well in terms of then it's a much smaller environment that you can just kind of give it a go, and then if it's not quite for you, you haven't kind of lost out anything from it. No,
very true. That is true. If the kit and everything, it can be a massive outlay. But that's definitely a that's another video on its own for kit and everything. What we'll do is I think I'm going to call it there. I mean, it's been an hour and a quarter. I try to limit these as an hour. So, but we've done well. Lots of questions, a lot of people watching, so it's really good. Thank you everyone for watching and asking questions, and thanks for your input.
It's been good fun.
It's been really good. Thanks, Matt, for giving up your time.
Absolutely.
To do this.
Thank you for having me.
You can go back to Animal Crossing. So what I'll do is we'll end it, and then any questions, and if you want to follow me, that'll be great. But I do tend to advertise. Shout out, Chris. He said Animal Crossing is life. Oh dear. So, but yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I will be doing more of these, and hopefully we can get some more, get some people from PD crew involved and having a little chat and answering questions and stuff like that, and we can go from there. Okay, so thanks very much, and we'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye. Say bye, Matt.
Bye.